Hey folks, welcome to a supplementary video on the Black Lives Matter presentations in Lit 2000 honors. There's been a lot of confusion even in the first semester that we did this presentation in this class. The original concept was to focus on the Black Lives Matter movement solely because that was in the news. Now we've gone a few years past that. And I've kept the title the same. Next time I will not keep the title the same, but I want to make sure you guys know what kinds of things you can cover in the BLM presentations. It does not have to be about the Black Lives Matter movement specifically. It does need to touch on civil rights in America at the time that you are taking this class. So one of the problems was that we lost some videos because of storage issues. So there was an original lecture on how to create these presentations, and I had forgotten or missed the fact that it's no longer in the course. So this is kind of a replacement for that. So I want to go over the assignment, and I want to talk about what are some of the things that you can do. So I'm videoing this particular statement in fall of 2022. Like I said, when I originally started teaching this class, the Black Lives Matter was like in the news. So I want you to focus on civil rights issues that are in the news today. So you could deal with racial issues. There are certainly racial issues at the forefront still in 2022, but you can focus on other things as well. The only problem is I want you to tie it somehow to the literature that we've been reading. So in the civil rights movement selections, we have Malcolm X, we have Martin Luther King, and we have Zora Neale Hurston, which is why it's kind of mostly been focused on racial issues. However, I am also more than willing to let you branch into feminist issues or gender issues or sexuality issues, as long as you can tie that in some way to literature. Now, if you want to talk about feminist issues or gender issues or any of those types of things, you don't have to limit yourself just to the literature that's in our unit that we're in right now. If you wanted to talk about feminist issues, though, you could still kind of use Their Eyes Were Watching God for that, or you could look ahead to The Handmaid's Tale. With gender identity issues, you may have to do some digging of your own to identify contemporary literature that is dealing with those themes. And it wouldn't be terribly hard to find that. We just haven't had any assigned in the class yet. So let's think about how to go about that. But let's go over the assignment first. And then I will kind of revise the assignment on the fly to match what you really are able to do. So I'm not going to turn on my student view today because I'm going to do some teacher activities while I am sharing with you. So let's open the course. And specifically, the instructions for the BLM presentations are mostly housed here in the submitting the PowerPoint one. So let me open that. So during the Civil Rights and Literature module, students will present individually on the Black Lives Matter movement and literature. We're going to change that live and in person. And I'm even going to change the title. Okay, so this is new, hot off the presses. I don't know what it's wanting me to do there. It's wrong. I'm right and it's wrong. That's the beauty of being, there we go. That's the beauty of being an English teacher. You can tell Grammarly, no, you're wrong and I'm right. So this is the way I want you to think about it. During the Civil Rights and Literature module, students will present individually on literary works and how they reflect the civil rights issues facing people today. For example, race, gender, and sexuality are all current in the news in terms of civil rights. So what literature from the class and beyond might help us explore that topic? I think that's a much better way of putting this. I had talked about that a great deal in that video that has been deleted for storage issues. So this, hopefully this helps. The assignment, this particular assignment that we're in right now is where you will submit your PowerPoint. And then of course, there's a separate assignment for submitting your video for grading. So let me save this, still do the same day. If for some reason we have a delay for weather, if you're not watching this in 2022, you won't have any idea what I'm talking about, but we are expecting a potential hurricane this week. So Florida never disappoints. But anyway, so that is what I'm asking of you. As it says here, there's no specific number of slides. It should be a 5 or so minute presentation. 10 is probably a little bit long, but 5 to 10 minute presentation. It will have a title slide for sure, and it will for sure have a works cited slide. But what you do in between there is entirely up to you. Now, you do need to keep slides in outline form, and they should be easily readable from across a room. You're not doing it across a room. You're probably going to do it using Zoom, but we should be able to read it if we were in a classroom. Keep your text on the slides in outline form and easily readable. Oh, I just said that. If you want to write out what you plan to say, do that in notes or on note cards or something else. You don't want your whole speech up on a PowerPoint, and that's just good design. Keep your designs and animations simple for ease of reading. So let's think about what we could find in terms of literature that is related to the other issues. So let's just do a quick Google search, literature, oops, and gender identity. And even in the shopping section, of course, we have a lot of information and a lot of books that are related to gender identity. There are also television shows and movies and certainly documentaries that have explored all kinds of issues surrounding gender equality rights, not only for just gender, but for gender identity, for transgendered folks. And there are some suggestions here. This one stands out to me because I've seen the TV show about this young woman. And of course, there's a lot of stuff in the news about gender identity and treatment and those sorts of things. So the main thing is you want to have a presentation about civil rights and the issues surrounding how we create equality. It's interesting in today's world. In fact, let me also go into the library. So in the Lake Sumter Library holdings, it's probably going to make me sign in. No, maybe not. Using the library will also be helpful because of things like this. So we have a topic starter, a research starter about gender identity. So you can certainly use this kind of information. in addition to works of literature. You could Google search for poems about gender identity, poems about it's Tuesday, but it feels like a Monday, about feminist issues, about disparities between representation in government. For example, we have still not elected a female president. Why is that? We have Congress members who are transgendered. We finally, but such a minority. So those types of issues count as civil rights issues. Now, if you want to focus on race, because that's what we've done the most with, you are certainly welcome to do that. You could even, if you wanted to focus on the Black Lives Matter movement, you could talk about where it started and where it is today. So there are some really interesting things that you could do with it. I want you to explore the things that you are interested in. My computer is not working right. So, but that's what I want to say, right? That I want you to explore the things that you are interested in, where civil rights and literature and today, 2022, intersect. So if you wanted to focus on a particular book and then talk about the civil rights issues in it, that's one way of doing it. If you wanted to take even a particular poem or a movie, a documentary, a TV show, all of those things will count as literature. Even if it's nonfiction, it can still count as literature. We've read a lot of nonfiction in this class. All of the stuff by Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and the Founding Fathers, all of that was nonfiction. So don't be afraid to use speeches. There have been a lot of speeches lately about things related to these issues. Maybe you want to focus on something specific, like the legislation and the platform that a lot of politicians are running on in the current election cycle, on banning, for example, access to hormonal treatment for transgendered children, that kind of thing. And then find literature, find speeches, find what politicians have written about it, and use that to explore it. So I know this is a little vague, but it's mostly because I am more interested in what you come up with than I am in giving you a formula of it has to be X, Y, and Z. So you could focus on the issue and then show literature that highlights the issue, or you could focus on the issue. Did I just do that backwards? No, I did. Or you could focus on a work or a couple of works of literature and then talk about the issues that pop up within them. So those are your two main ways of approaching this. Either start with the issue itself or with the literature itself, and then use that to explore the topic. I hope that's better. I hope that's clearer. I don't know if it is, but please let me know if that's not any clearer and we can talk about it. The rest of this week is a little crazy. So I can't, I was thinking maybe we could have a live session if we need one. And we can, it just may have to be next week. And then we would need maybe a little more time for the PowerPoints, but we'll figure that out. Hopefully this makes everything a little bit clearer and gives you some ideas of where you can go. So pick one of the main categories: race, gender, or sexuality. Gender could be traditional feminism or gender identity. Okay, so there's really kind of two separate things within that category, but certainly race, clear; gender, a little less clear; sexuality, pretty clear. if you want to focus on gay marriage, for example, and the fact that it hasn't been legal for that long, it's still something that a lot of people debate and want to bring up. So anyway, hopefully that helps. I feel like I feel like my old video was much better than this because I had some extra time to sit and plan it. But I got a couple emails and I was worried that it was clear that it was not clear. So I want to make sure and get this out there. I'm also going to embed this in the module. Even though this is not a polished video, I will make a better one and save it for later. But for right now, I think this will get us at least headed in the right direction. So everybody take care, take a deep breath. You got this.